Well, with 5 new coaches in the SEC and then another guy fired yesterday, all the air got sucked out of the room with all the coaching moves. We didn't get a chance to talk a lot about the actual games. We will do so now, starting with the Iron Bowl. Alabama, of course, punching its ticket to the SEC championship game with a 27-20 win over Auburn. It wasn't easy, though, as it never is at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The Crimson Tide more than 400 overall yards in that game, being able to get the win after a ferocious comeback by the Tigers. We'll dive into that and a lot more here on Southeast Sports Plus. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined by Patrick Walsh. Patrick, we were joking yesterday that, hey, we don't have a lot of time to talk about the actual games that happened on Saturday and on Friday and even some on Thursday because of everything that happened. But the Iron Bowl in my place is a really good place to start because this is an Alabama team that lost their first game of the season to Florida State. And I think that not a lot of people that day would have pictured Alabama playing for the SEC championship, but here they are after that big win at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah, I want to touch on the news from this past weekend because I don't think in sport we have ever seen one conference have so much chaos going on at once to the point where you're forgetting about some of the games that were actually played. I mean, there was a span of 45 minutes where it just all happened on Sunday, and we're just like, okay, I mean, what's next? You know, like I'm just waiting in the next hour to see what's going to happen. But I mean, there was just so much to talk about yesterday. We really didn't get to talk about. I mean, we talked a little bit about the Iron Bowl, but all of these other games as well. The Iron Bowl was the best rivalry game this past weekend, and it usually is when it's at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I've always been a big proponent of when it's in Tuscaloosa. It doesn't really have that added edge because, I mean, this is no diss against Auburn by any means, but it's that underdog mentality. And usually when you, in my opinion, the Iron Bowls have a little bit more meaning when they're on the plains rather than in Tuscaloosa because I think Auburn has a better chance of winning. And I thought Auburn could have won this game. They won the yardage battle against Alabama. They just could not get over those 2 turnovers. One of them wasn't really Ashton Daniels' fault, and I mean, it was just a tipped interception that, I mean, you could maybe make the argument that the ball came in a little bit too hot. I mean, he definitely zinged it in there, but the other one, just when your best player fumbles with 40 seconds to go trying to get 2 more yards, I mean, it hurts, but anyways, Alabama wins the Iron Bowl, and now they're in the SEC championship.
Yep, that's exactly right. 3rd straight win over Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium. 6th straight win in the Iron Bowl overall. It has felt like a rivalry game that, yes, while it is a rivalry and there's a lot of the cliches that get thrown out there about, you know, taking the record books out of the equation, it has been a rivalry game with the team that's better actually winning the football game, and the team that was favored actually won there as well. Depending on where you got the number, if you bet Alabama, you covered your spread, but barely. If you got it at 6, then you're sweating it out a little bit. If you got it at 5 or 5.5, it's a little bit of an easier win. And an opposite case for the Auburn Tigers, the other way around. If you bet Auburn getting the points, but I think this is a really good litmus test for Alabama as they move forward because every game from here on out, I expect to be very close. Of course, Alabama blew out Eastern Illinois before this, but the Iron Bowl, now the SEC Championship, and whatever games they play in the college football playoff, I think this game kind of bodes well for whatever is to come, you know, for Alabama because they'll all be either neutral site games or games on their field.
Yeah, and I mean, the SEC Championship is going to be interesting to me because you know Georgia's going to want to get back at that Week 5 loss in Athens, and I mean, Georgia just played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium last week, I mean, I know they're in Georgia, but if this was like Texas A&M, so to speak, and they were just playing in Mercedes-Benz, they wouldn't have to travel far. I mean, you might as well just stay the whole week. But you know, Georgia, obviously Athens being in Georgia. The thing about Alabama from this game, though, we've been talking about it for a few weeks now. Something is off with that offense.
Yes.
And the offense didn't really win them the game. I mean, if it weren't for one guy showing up and actually doing his job and Isaiah Horton scoring 3 touchdowns, he made 5 catches for a total of 35 yards. So, I mean, all you had to do is just give it to him in the red zone. If it weren't for him, I think Auburn wins this pretty handedly.
Yeah. This seems to me like a game, and you mentioned about how Alabama was outgained on the field. And a lot of times you don't necessarily see the teams that get outgained that much being able to win the game. But as you mentioned, Auburn shot themselves in the foot with those turnovers, and Alabama knows that all too well, being able to turn other teams over at a very high clip. But you mentioned it, Isaiah Horton if you were to say an Alabama receiver was going to have a big game, the first player you'd probably go to is Ryan Williams. The second player.
Did he even get a target?
I'll go back and check the box score.
I don't think he got a target.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he did or not. And that's another part of this whole situation that has seemed weird, seemed odd, and obviously can't go play by play. And we don't know the progression for Ty Simpson on every play he's been called, so we don't know if Ryan is the first. The first guy in the progression to be able to get those footballs, but to not even have a target to me is kind of wild. Let me see. He's not listed at all in the Alabama official box score. So I mean, he did not get a target there. So I found it really interesting that they were able to find Isaiah Horton, and maybe if you're looking at it glass half full, you're like, well, we found another weapon. It's Ryan Williams, it's Jeremy Bernard, and we have Isaiah Horton here. But if you're looking at it from the other perspective, you're like, this might make you seem a little nervous that his production has gone down the latter parts of the year.
I think that has to make you nervous because not only are you thinking about the rest of this year, but you got to be thinking about next year.
Yeah.
I mean, is he going to stay?
Right.
Obviously, there was just so much hype last year, and I feel like some of the hype might have been a little bit too much for a 17-year-old at the time to fully be able to grasp it, how good he was at the wide receiver position. And then coming into this year, that hype didn't dwindle at all. I mean, talking about, I remember him playing the new college football game and just talking about that and just being at 18, how good he actually is.
Right.
And then this season, it seems like Jeremy Bernard has really taken the next step to being wide receiver one. And that step that I think we all expected Ryan Williams to take, while Williams just regressed a little bit. So I'd be interested to see. I think the SEC championship is going to be a big telltale for me and what his plan is moving forward. Because, I mean, he is an in-state kid. He's right in our area down here in Mobile and along the Gulf Coast. So, I mean, he's got Alabama ties. It would be interesting to me to see what Alabama does moving forward with him.
Right.
And if he doesn't get – if he goes – with no targets again for 2 straight games.
Correct.
Then you got to start having some more conversations.
You got to start worrying a little bit if you're Alabama, pulling back the box score from the previous time that they played in the Alabama-Georgia matchup. Even in that football game, he had 5 targets, or 5 catches, I should say, with 43 yards, no touchdowns. Isaiah Horton also had a big game there as well. 5 catches. He had a touchdown in that game. But you might remember the breakout game for Ryan Williams last season was the Georgia game. That game was in Tuscaloosa. He goes off, has a great day, kind of his coming out party, so to speak. I know he had a great game the game before, but it's like, hey, SEC game under the bright lights in prime time. Ryan really went off there. So I wonder now with the stage once again bright again as they go to Mercedes-Benz if he's able to do it. But it is something to look out for because all season long, Bama has not been able to run the ball with any kind of true efficiency. I know that they ran the ball decently in the Iron Bowl this past week. Ran for 158 yards. Jam Miller had 83 yards, and you had 40 yards essentially for Daniel Hill as well. So you're finding something on the ground, but it's not consistent enough and not nearly what we're used to seeing Alabama with guys like Mark Ingram and guys like Trent Richardson and guys like Eddie Lacy and several others. It's not the kind of running attack that we're used to seeing from Alabama, and I wonder if they can get that cleaned up as well.
Yeah, and I talked about it a few times where it just seems like the offensive line isn't playing up to the full potential, and I almost wonder if that's part of the reason why the run game hasn't been so good.
Right.
One of the more interesting things I thought from the Iron Bowl is how much Ty Simpson ran it. I know he had that big 20-yard, I believe it was a 25-yard run that got him right inside the 5.
Yep.
I mean, look, Ty Simpson, he didn't really play that well either. I mean, the whole offense did not play well against Auburn, and you can make the argument that Ashton Daniels on the other side was the best player in that game.
Yeah.
Putting up Diego Pavia-like numbers there, over 100 yards on the ground and 259 through the air. But I mean, if you're Alabama, you're teetering on the edge here. You're playing with fire. I know you've won these last 2 games. You beat Eastern Illinois. Good for you. You beat them pretty handedly. Again, good for you. Ty Simpson threw 2 picks in that game. That's not good. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong. Auburn's defense is good. There was a little bit of, I would say, a 6-quarter stretch from the entire Vanderbilt game through half of the Mercer game where it was like, uh-oh.
It looked shaky.
Yeah. And it looks like DJ Durkin can't do both. Right. And then they held Alabama to under 250 yards. And 3 touchdowns, but I mean, the one touchdown that stands out to me was the fourth down touchdown.
4th and 2, yeah,
to Horton,
Isaiah
and that
Horton
one kind of iced it.
And really, to me, I put that also on a lot on Kalen DeBoer.
Yep.
He understands his team. He knows his team is not running the ball really well. And he also knows he can kick the field goal there. I know that there's been shaky, field goal kicking with this football team with Connor Salty, but he understands, okay, I have a good team and I can rely on my defense even if we don't get this 4th down. Scores a touchdown, as you said, to Isaiah Horton, who they kind of found. So even his numbers, even though he has 3 touchdowns, his overall numbers really don't blow you away. But their execution in the red zone was really, really high. And you mentioned Ty Simpson running the ball a lot more. But I do think that they leave themselves a little susceptible to what's ahead of them coming up in the college football playoff, which I do expect them to be in. Of course, we won't get that solidified for a couple of weeks, but I do expect, hey, once we find out for sure what they look like on Saturday, then we can make some adjustments and make some assessments. But I think if you're an Alabama fan, you point to this Iron Bowl and say, yeah, we were fortunate enough to get away with the win at Jordan-Hare Stadium, even though it didn't look pretty.
Yeah, but I mean, I know Alabama fans are a little bit spoiled in a way with Nick Saban and all the national championships, but you still have to remember this is year 2 for Kalen DeBoer in the SEC.
Right.
And let me tell you something, Alabama fans. Your best team isn't this year. It's next year.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have a run game next year with good old E.J. Crowell running. He's going to – I tell you what, the amount of hype Ryan Williams had when he was 17 and him just making defenders look bad.
Yep.
I think EJ's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And we've gotten the opportunity to watch him basically in our backyard here the last few years.
Yeah. It's been so close, and he's up for all the major awards here in the state of Alabama. He will play his final high school football game on Thursday before he goes to Alabama. They'll play the state championship game against the Anniston Bulldogs. So really excited to see that. But you mentioned it, the fact that this team cannot run the ball, but still Kalen DeBoer having a lot of trust in his team. We talked about that 4th down play, 4th and 2, being able to not only get the first down yardage, but also be able to get the touchdown.
I figured it was 29 yards shorter than the last time we needed a touchdown here. So probably percentages were much more in our favor. But no, I feel like there's a confidence you have in the offense, okay, to get the 2 yards. We didn't need to have a touchdown on that play, but we needed the 2 yards. And I think there's also a piece where backed up like that, you got confidence in your defense. And in that situation, you got a chance to score, you got a chance to get a stop, and you also got a chance to maybe get the ball back again. And obviously all those things, there's some things that don't work for you to be in that spot, and some things that do work for you to be in that spot to where you get 2 chances at it. So, again, just a lot of trust in our guys on both sides of the ball that we can get it done.
And next up, Alabama will face Georgia in the SEC championship game, a rematch of a game from before earlier this year. And I think it's the 10th time, maybe 13th time that these two teams have played, the 7th time that these two teams have played in the SEC championship game.
Stop me if you've heard this SEC championship matchup before.
It feels like it's been a carbon copy for the last few years. It's rivaling what Alabama-Florida had been for a very long time, through the 90s and through Steve Spurrier, and even into the 2000s when Nick Saban and Urban Meyer were going at it head-to-head. Georgia-Alabama seems to be that new rivalry that comes your way on Saturday at 3 o'clock Central Time.